He is free from the penitentiary. Jimmy Uso is back on SmackDown. And we're going to see what he did with him and his brother and Roman Reigns in just a second. So stay tuned. This is your SmackDown review. What's up, Maniacs? My name is Mex. I'm a wrestling fan, a wrestling enthusiast, a WrestleManiac, if you will. And today we are talking about SmackDown, a really, really good show on this throwback SmackDown edition that they were having. Wasn't really throwback SmackDown. It was just kind of like retro vibes. But they did give us, the SmackDown fist, and they did show us a load of clips throughout the show of, John Cena having his debut against Kurt Angle, The Rock being screwed over by Triple H, and Shawn Michaels. Vince McMahon in the lowrider with Eddie Guerrero. There was loads of kind of good scenes kind of put in between everything that really happened between about 99 and 2004, because in my opinion, that was the best period of SmackDown anyway. So yeah, love to see it, happy to see it. But like I said in the intro, Jimmy Uso is back. And yeah, we're going to talk about how things unfolded for him and his brother in just a second. So stay tuned. And in case you didn't know, right here at WrestleManiac UK, I discuss everything that's WWE and AEW. So if this sounds like the place for you, hit the subscribe button, people. Hit the notification bell so you get notified each and every time I drop a new video. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get into it. The SmackDown review. Oh, excuse me. So the show opened up with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Paul Heyman came down to the ring, and Roman Reigns, gave us the usual chat. I'm a man of my word. Did what I was gonna say. I was gonna do. Pinned Daniel Bryan. I've got rid of Daniel Bryan. Did it for SmackDown. Did it for Fox. Did it for Daniel Bryan himself. And we had Paul Heyman eulogize the career of Daniel Bryan by doing a 10 bell salute on himself, like ding, ding. It was so hilarious. Roman Reigns started busting up and couldn't keep a straight face. And he basically said, the fact that Daniel Bryan is gone, he wanted to replace him on the SmackDown roster, and he said basically Daniel Bryan wouldn't acknowledge him. So he's bringing in somebody that will. Cue the music. Jimmy Uso returns. And even me, I had a big smile across my face. So happy to see Jimmy Uso. It's literally been, about a year, just over a year since he's really been involved. He got injured at WrestleMania 35. So brilliant to see Jimmy Uso back, realigned with his brother. Of course, we've seen him at times when his brother was feuding against Roman. We saw Jimmy Uso's involvement there, but yeah, he looks like he's fully back and fully ready to have this run again and join these guys possibly in this whole head of the table tribal chief storyline, which would be absolutely fantastic. So after a bit of celebration of Jimmy Uso's return with his brother Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns and stuff, Cesaro came out. And Cesaro was, basically telling them he hasn't got time for them today. Roman Reigns was laughing in the rings, thinking, you don't have time for me. Roman's brilliant. And as he was kind of saying he's got a big match ahead, Seth Rollins came out and attacked him from behind. We did see Teddy Long, part of this whole throwback SmackDown, come out, and he had been given permission from Adam Pearce to make this match basically a number one contenders match. If Cesaro was to beat Seth Rollins, then Cesaro would go on to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania Backlash. Rollins was right to say, well, what if I win? What happens for me? And nothing is the answer. There was no benefit for Rollins for this apart from stopping Cesaro. Roman Reigns had a sneak attack on Cesaro, and then the match basically began. The twins, Jey and Jimmy Uso, were at a ringside area watching Rollins and Cesaro have their match, and pretty much a good match. It was like a WrestleMania diet version of the match we got at WrestleMania between Cesaro and Rollins. After we saw Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso was distracting Seth Rollins a bit, not in a negative way. He was trying to help him. Rollins said, I don't need your help. He pushed Jey Uso down. Jimmy Uso wasn't having this, you can't attack my brother. Jimmy Uso super kicked Rollins when the referee wasn't looking. Cesaro got Rollins back in the ring, hit him with the neutralizer, the Gotch neutralizer, and pinned him. So Cesaro is getting his match at WrestleMania Backlash against Roman Reigns. Very much like we've been predicting in the last couple of months. You know, it probably wouldn't be the big blockbuster match at SummerSlam or anything like that, but his very first WWE Championship match. Yeah, very, very well deserved for the work Cesaro has done in the last couple of months. I'm pretty sure as well. Paul Heyman is a strong advocate behind Cesaro's work, so doesn't surprise me that we see him getting this push at all. Deserves it, but I think we all can agree that it is one step too far. He probably will not become champion at WrestleMania Backlash. Probably Seth Rollins will get involved somehow, some way to prevent that. But yeah, Cesaro getting the big match that we've all kind of wanted him to see in the spot we've all wanted to see him in. So yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Can't complain there. But yeah, that was the opening segment to what was a really good SmackDown, really good opening segment, really good match. And we move on to a bit of a backstage area segment where just a bit of fun. Teddy Long is with Sonya Deville, and Sami Zayn comes in, and Sami Zayn wants an Intercontinental title match. Teddy Long does all the things you can expect him to do. No, you're not getting that, but you can go one-on-one with the Undertaker. And obviously, Undertaker's retired, and Sami Zayn tells him that. And then he said he's going to be in a tag match. It's a 10-man tag match, but he's only said Sami Zayn has one other partner. And then as he's finally listing through who the other partners are, he says King Booker instead of King Corbin. So very much playing up on the nostalgia of it all. And then we see Teddy Long do the Teddy Long dance and all of that kind of stuff. And Sami Zayn, you know, he says to Sami Zayn, I heard you're a bit of a dancer, come and dance with me, and all of this kind of stuff. So yeah, little fun segment there to split up the show a bit. Next up on the show, we had Ruby Riott versus Carmella. Very refreshing to see these guys come out. Obviously, we haven't seen Carmella for a long time, haven't seen Ruby Riott or Liv Morgan for a long time, even in a tag capacity. So good to see them. Match didn't last long at all, unfortunately. It was a bit rushed. There was a bit of going forward and backwards with, you know, trying to roll each other up and all of that kind of stuff. And eventually we saw Carmella roll Ruby Riott into the code of silence, and Ruby Riott more or less tapped out immediately to give Carmella the win. So a lot has been said in the last week, to be honest, about the amount of time women's matches have got across all the main promotions on TV and stuff like that. I think, if I'm correct, either Raw or SmackDown was the lowest. So yeah, the women's divisions they're crazy, but in terms of talent, but they're not getting the time on TV as you would hope in terms of match time. Definitely, like we saw a promo segment later on in the night between Bianca Belair and Bayley, which we talk about in a second. But yeah, in terms of match time, they're not really getting a fair crack at the whip. Some say it's because, you know, women's wrestling doesn't draw. Hence why they have said they probably won't do another Evolution pay-per-view. But yeah, I don't know. It's not the best, is it? It is not the best. But yeah, like I said, straight after we had a Bayley promo, and Bayley came out, and Bayley was basically saying that she's not here to talk about herself. She's here to kind of remember the great SmackDown, the great women's champion, of the past. She mentioned the likes of Alundra Blaze. She mentioned the likes of Jacqueline, who was a cruiserweight champion and first ever African American women's champion. Mentioned Lita, Trish, Molly Holly, Beth Phoenix, I think. Mentioned Bianca Belair, who was obviously the punchline here, and went on to say Bianca Belair is naive. She thinks she can beat me. She's ignorant. This, that, and the other, all kinds of names. Bianca Belair came out and she just said, you know, you stay out of my business. You're all up in my business. You're worried about me. Worry about yourself and all this kind of stuff. And a Bayley broke out into that kind of savage laughter like she has been doing in recent weeks, just kind of laughing for no real reason, just laughing the idea off, if you like. And then her and Bianca kind of broke into a bit of a scrap where Bayley left Bianca Belair laying with a rose plant. So yeah, the thing is right now with Bianca Belair, I don't know, man. Something is not clicking. They're not. She's not. She's not like the dominating champion I thought she would be. Um, yeah, she's just. It's too airy fairy. Like there's not enough substance. You see what I mean? There's something is lacking here in terms of her title run, like, and her personality, her character. There's just something not here. I don't know. It is a bit early still. Let's get past this pay-per-view. Let's see if there's another challenger in line. It may just be because, like we said earlier, they're not giving these women enough time to tell stories and stuff on TV. But right now, she looks better in the chase than being the champion, which is a horrible thing to say about anyone. You know, everyone wants to be the champion, but yeah, I don't know. If something's not clicking for me personally, let me know what you think down below in the comments. Before we get on to the rest of the show, guys, if you haven't already, please hit the thumbs up button. It does a lot for the channel, puts this video in front of other wrestling fans just like you and I. So I thoroughly appreciate every time you guys do. So please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't already. Thank you very much. Next up on the show, we were supposed to get Rey Mysterio versus Dolph Ziggler, but Dolph Ziggler got in the ring and started running down Dominik Mysterio, you know, telling him, you know, you're a young buck and all of this kind of stuff. You're just a kid. Get out of here. Let grown men do grown men things. And it's funny he says all that because Dominik Mysterio actually turned up on SmackDown before Dolph Ziggler ever did as a child, if you guys remember. So, yeah, Dominik Mysterio said, you know, Dad, I'll take it from here. And he had the match with Dolph Ziggler. Decent match, decent affair between these guys. You know, Dolph Ziggler's very good at what he does in the ring, but the match didn't really last long at all. We saw Dominik Mysterio catching Ziggler in a cradle for a win, a cradle roll-up pin, and made away with his dad. And Dolph Ziggler was obviously irate that, you know, he had been hot. He had been done basically. He had basically been done by the guy he called just a kid. So yeah, and we are getting the Dirty Dogs versus Rey Mysterio and Dominik Mysterio at WrestleMania Backlash. Surely this is where they're going to crown Dominik and Rey Mysterio as tag team champions, the first ever father-son duo in WWE to be a father and son tag team champion. So surely anyway, let's see how that turns out. But that's the match we're getting at WrestleMania Backlash next week, Sunday. Moving along in the show, we had Tamina versus Reginald. Now, we've seen these Reginald matches against the female competitors. He doesn't attack them, obviously, for obvious reasons. We don't want him to attack them. We don't want him to lay fingers on them. But at the same time, it does make it a bit pointless. Tamina never really got her hands on him. Like, at least, you know, when he wrestled Sasha got her hands on him a couple of times. But Tamina, every time she did get her hands on him, she didn't really deliver a move. And he kept ducking and diving and doing his flips and this, that, and the other and escaping her. And when she, like I say, when she had him, she didn't do much, to the point where Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax got involved. And this match got thrown out as a DQ. Shayna Baszler and Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax attacked Tamina and Natalya after the bell. Natalya was at ringside. But apparently we are getting the tag team championship match next week on SmackDown. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax will defend against Tamina and Natalya. And for me, this has to be their coronation. Tamina and Natalya just need to take those titles, send Shayna and Nia Jax on their way. This all hasn't been booked well at all. Not just this story, but just them as tag team champions. It's not been it. So please, let's just bring this to an end and let Shayna and Nia Jax do something else. Maybe they'll chase it for a while, I'm guessing. But ideally, I want Shayna and Nia Jax back in the main Raw women's single division, creating more challenges for those at the top, those with the titles and stuff like that. I don't want to see them as tag team champions anymore, despite all the hard work they have tried to do with these belts. Bring it to an end, please. Next up, we had tag team match, a 10-man tag team match. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. We had little backstage promos between the two teams. Apollo Crews' one was really cool. Cool to see Apollo Crews in this kind of leadership persona. He really put over most people on his team apart from Sami Zayn, Big Otis, the skilled Chad Gable, the King Corbin, Sami Zayn, and then we obviously saw the other team do the same. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, the Street Profits, Kevin Owens, Shinsuke Nakamura, and I'm actually Big E. I'm forgetting the last person. It was Big E. So we had this 10-man tag action. It was pretty decent. There were some rough spots in it where Montez Ford doing his tope over the top rope and nearly not being caught by Otis was all a bit crazy. In the end, we saw Shinsuke Nakamura suffer the end of days at the hands of King Corbin, and he was pinned. Imagine Shinsuke Nakamura being put into a match to take the pin. It's absolutely crazy, but the heels won. So yeah, we saw Corbin, Apollo Crews, Chad Gable, Otis, Sami Zayn get the win here. I don't know what the next step is in all of this, but hey, just maybe wanted to get them all on the show this week. Last but not least, Roman Reigns had told, we had seen backstage Jey Uso have words with Jimmy Uso. Roman Reigns had kind of got onto Jimmy Uso earlier on in the night, saying that, you messed this up. Seth Rollins should have beaten Cesaro, and then I wouldn't have to kind of clean up the mess and face Cesaro at WrestleMania Backlash. Jimmy Uso said, first of all, you're not going to speak to me anyhow like you speak to my brother, and I'm not your bitch. And he walked out. And then later on in the night, we saw Jey Uso and Jimmy have a bit of words backstage, and Jimmy was telling him, you don't need this guy. He's using you, this, that, and the other. We need to reunite our team. We're the best tag team out here. Maybe gave Jey Uso something to think about. Later on, we saw Roman Reigns then tell Paul Heyman, go and get my cousin. And he told Jey Uso he needs to fall in line. That is, Jimmy needs to fall in line. And we're going to see where his loyalty lies. So it brings us to this ending segment where Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Paul Heyman all in the ring. They were going to, Roman was saying something along the lines of, Jimmy, I gave you a chance to kind of fall in line and be one of us. And I don't know, you've got some other kind of different agenda sort of thing. Jimmy Uso interrupts Roman Reigns, comes out, basically says the same thing. I'm not going to acknowledge you and all this kind of stuff. You put me, they showed the footage of last year, Hell in a Cell, where Jey Uso quit the match because he cared about his brother's well-being when Roman had him in that guillotine. They were really just telling that story and telling it so well. But Roman said, look, stop getting hung up on the past. We've all straightened things out since then. Fall in line. Let's do this. We're family. I love you. This, that, and the other. I love your brother. Jimmy Uso didn't seem to care. He got out of the ring. Jey Uso kind of went to get out of the ring and chase him, be like, listen, like, just fall in line. It'll be easier, sort of thing. Like, we can still have our plan of, going on to be tag team champions, this, that, and the other. When they're having this discussion, Cesaro runs in and attacks Roman Reigns from behind. Jey Uso runs into the ring to try to back it, and Jey Uso is kind of pulled back by Jimmy Uso. No, like, leave him to it. Jey Uso finally breaks free, gets into the ring, and Cesaro gives it to him as well, sort of thing. Jimmy Uso runs into the ring eventually to defend his brother, doesn't really care about Roman at this point. But Cesaro takes him out as well. Cesaro does a neutralizer to Jey Uso. Cesaro does a neutralizer to Roman Reigns. And Cesaro stands tall, looking menacing, looking jacked, absolutely jacked. Let's not lie, this is his moment. This is him getting his one over on these guys, because it probably won't happen at the pay-per-view. Yeah. Jimmy right now, he's at a crossroads. He wants to put Jey on that crossroad. Jey is, he's back in the tribal chief and all of that. But Jimmy, he's not so sure. He wants his brother back. He knows he can't do his thing without his brother. And Cesaro has taken this opportunity to sneak attack all of them, like Roman sneak attacked him earlier on in the night. Like I said, this is probably Cesaro's moment of fame, his moment within this entire feud. So enjoy it, Cesaro. Enjoy it, because I'm sure Roman Reigns is coming to smash him, pin him, stack him, get rid of ya, all of that kind of stuff once it comes to the pay-per-view. But one last thing I wanted to talk about, that is the end of SmackDown, but one last thing I wanted to talk about, where do we think Jimmy Uso's loyalties lie? Do you think he's going to, okay, I'll fall in line, I'll acknowledge Roman Reigns, but he's got his own plan to kind of rescue his brother? Do you think we're maybe going to get a Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso feud? If Jey wins, then Jimmy has to fall in line. Either one of these could be really, really interesting. I mean, either way, I want to see them as tag team champions in Roman's regime, and all of those guys are carrying belts. That is my dream. But it's going to be very interesting to see if Jimmy Uso is just here to pull out his brother from this system, this lineage thing that's going on, or is Jimmy Uso eventually going to acknowledge Roman Reigns and fall in line? Let me know what you think down below in the comments, but I'm intrigued either way. Very happy to see Jimmy Uso back on SmackDown. But guys, that is the SmackDown review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed SmackDown. Really good show this week, as it usually is. It's not like that other thing that they show on a Monday night. But yeah, really do like SmackDown right now. We're going into this WrestleMania Backlash thing, which is a horrible name. Not everything on the card will be perfect, but I think the matches will deliver as they usually do at the pay-per-views. But yeah, guys, please give a thumbs up if you haven't already on this video, and if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you get notified each and every time I drop a new video. WrestleManiac UK signing out, and I'll see you